Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my videos. So Saul Niguez has spoke out on Manchester United's transfer interest, and he said he was flattered by the rumours linking him with a move to Manchester United. Now, we was considering making a £71 million bid for the player. Saul Niguez, up until this point, has spent the entirety of his senior career with Atletico Madrid. I think he's been at Atletico Madrid now around 12 years. And he's played over 290 competitive matches. In 2017, Saul Niguez signed a 9-year contract with Atletico Madrid. That includes a £130 million release clause, so Saul Niguez is under contract with Atletico Madrid until 2026. He's 25 years of age. He can play as a central midfielder or a holding midfielder. I think when he was younger, he was a centre half. Obviously, Atletico Madrid have let quite a few of their players go. Obviously, they lost Griezmann, didn't they, to Barcelona. They also lost Rodri last year. They lost Jimenez quite a few years ago. They also lost Diego Godin. But they've recruited some players in recent years. Obviously, they've brought the likes of João Felix in, Thomas Lemar, Kieran Trippier, Diego Costa, Alvaro Morata. So they have brought a few players in. I think we was in for Saul Niguez back under the David Moyes era. We had scouted the player. But obviously, we was in for Saul Niguez before we completed the signing of Donny van de Beek. So there you go. Now, I just want to delve into some news on Jadon Sancho from Borussia Dortmund. So Manchester United have reached a total agreement with Sancho and his agents. This is stemming from Fabrizio Romero, who is a very reliable Italian journalist. He's also revealed that the personal terms and the agent fees are actually not the problem. Now, Mike Phelan, who was obviously our assistant, he has said that Manchester United could be closing in on a deal for Jadon Sancho. Mike Phelan's recently been following Sancho on Instagram. Now, Sancho is set to get a bonus payment in his Borussia Dortmund contract after his appearance for England against Iceland. Now, Jadon Sancho could be our second signing in this summer transfer window. Obviously, Borussia Dortmund's valuation is around £108 million. Dortmund have been looking for like £90 million up front. He said before we was only willing to pay £60 or £70 million up front for Sancho. But Sancho does remain our number one priority target, and we've already confirmed that we will not give up on the signing of Sancho unless he publicly says that he wants to stay at Borussia Dortmund. We are still in negotiations with his representatives, but we have been in for him for like the last 3 years. Now, quite a few weeks ago, Sancho to Manchester United looked dead in the water, because it had said we'd abandoned our chase for the player until the summer of 2021, which is obviously next summer. It also looked dead in the water because obviously we missed out on the deadline to sign the player. Dortmund said we had until the 10th of August. Missed out on that deadline, so Sancho decided to go out on pre-season. Also, too, Borussia Dortmund CEO, sporting director, and another one of their directors said that Sancho is staying at Dortmund. Now, around 4 weeks ago, Fabrizio Romero came out and said that Sancho's agreed personal terms with Man United, and he said he was set to sign a 5-year contract with the football club. But just after that got reported, it said that talks had broken down because of Borussia Dortmund's asking price. But from Borussia Dortmund's perception, they're still very, very convinced that Sancho will remain loyal to them for at least one more season. Sancho so far has enjoyed 3 years with Dortmund. I think he's still under contract with Dortmund until 2022. Borussia Dortmund paid £8 million in from Man City back in 2017, so they got him for next to nothing. The main explanation he left Manchester City is because he did not get assured any first team opportunities. And before he was at City, he was at Watford. He was at Watford from the age of 7 to the age of 14. That's where he began his footballing career. His stats, I think, were very, very impressive last season for Dortmund. I think he scored like 17 goals and provided 17 assists. Christian Falk, he's spoken about the Jadon Sancho transfer saga quite a few times. James Cooper, he tends to be close to Man United. He's spoken about it quite a few weeks ago now, and he says that Man United don't miss out on players that they do intend on signing. Now, for a while now, we have been looking at a lot of alternatives to Sancho because there is much cheaper solutions than him. We've been looking at the likes of Ousmane Dembele from Barcelona, Douglas Costa from Juventus, Kingsley Coman from Bayern Munich, Rabbi Matondo from Schalke, but there is cheaper solutions than him. If we sign Sancho, he will be our next number 7. We've obviously got number 7 vacant at the moment. We've had a lot of good number 7s up and down the generations, but our recent number 7s haven't been so good. But I believe now we're the only team that's in for Sancho. I don't think Liverpool are no longer in for him. Chelsea are no longer in for him. He did actually say before that Barcelona and Real Madrid could go in for him sometime next year. But I've already outlined the reasons why I want Sancho, because obviously I think if he comes to the Premier League, he'll exceed expectations. He's, predominantly a right winger, and obviously Man United need a right winger. He's also got a very, very good friendship with Marcus Rashford, and he's still very, very young. Sancho is only the age of 20 still, is he? It'll be good from a Manchester City perspective if he's sold in this summer transfer window, because they do get around 15% of the transfer fee. And Solskjaer's recently been infuriated over the Jadon Sancho deal, and he's urged Ed Woodward to get him on the board and to fix it. But Dortmund have let quite a few big names go. Like I've said to you before, let the likes of Aubameyang go, Christian Pulisic, Ukwan Gundogan, Mkhitaryan. They let Shinji Kagawa go at one point, Matt Hummels, Ousmane Dembele, Robert Lewandowski. But they've recruited players in recent years, don't forget, of, Borussia Dortmund. They've brought the likes of Julian Brandt in, Thorgan Hazard, Erling Haaland, Jude Bellingham. Obviously, they're 2 players that we've missed out on under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and they did get Emre Can permanently. So that is the breaking news on him. But I think the stumbling block's not only Borussia Dortmund's asking price. Obviously, the wage demands recently have proven to be a stumbling block. Because we get Sancho in, obviously I think he'll be probably the highest paid player at the football club. And I said if he was determined to meet what Dortmund are demanding, he'd be our most expensive signing and the most expensive English player in history. Now, I want to delve into some news on Sergio Regulion from Real Madrid. Now, we are facing an issue regarding the Sergio Regulion transfer, like I updated you recently, because Real Madrid have said that they want to insert a buyback clause. So this is the stumbling block at the moment. But Sergio Regulion is welcome to an offer from Manchester United. Fabrizio Romero has also spoken about this Sergio Regulion transfer saga, and he recently said that Real Madrid have offered Regulion to Manchester United. He recently said we was preparing to put around the £25 million bidding for the player. We've not yet made a decision though on the player. It'd be beneficial if we could get him in, because obviously he's a left back, and Man United need a left back. We've got 2 predominant left backs in the team at the moment, and that's obviously Luke Shaw, who is our first choice left back, Brandon Williams, he's our backup left back. We've also got Delort and Timothy Fosu-Mensah that can also be deployed as left backs. But Sergio Reguilon's only the age of 23, very, very young. He's very, very good at crossing the ball. He can make some good overlapping runs. He's good at exploiting space. And he's the type of player that we do need. Now, he's also been offered to Arsenal and Tottenham. Now, Sergio Reguilon has been at Real Madrid for several years. You know, he's been at Real Madrid, I think, since like 2005. So he's been with them around 15 years. Don't forget he had a few loan spells with the Logrones. He was out on loan with Sevilla last season. Played around 38 games for Sevilla in all competitions last season. And he was obviously, very, very good. And I think Sevilla have been keen on getting him on loan for another season. Like I say, still got a contract with Real Madrid until 2023. But he'll have to leave because he can't get in Real Madrid's team anyway because Zinedine Zidane prefers Marcelo and Ferland Mendy ahead of the player. But Real Madrid do value him in the £20-odd million range. Alex Telles from Porto, he's another left back that Man United have been looking at. Now, I want to delve into some news on Sergio Romero. So, Manchester United are determined to sell Sergio Romero in this summer transfer window. Now, there's a few clubs that are in for him. Chelsea are interested in him. Chelsea are looking for a goalkeeper to replace Kepa Arrizabalaga. And it also mentions that Aston Villa are interested in him. According to Marca in Argentina, they have said that Villa have come to an agreement with Man United for Sergio Romero over the fee. It says Villa have agreed to get him for around £8 million. Now, it mentions that Leeds have been interested in him. Everton have also been in for him, and so too have West Ham. Now, Sergio Romero has endured 5 years with Manchester United. We got him on a free from San Pandora back in 2015. Obviously, in the years he's been with us, he has been our backup goalkeeper to David De Gea. But he will leave because obviously Dean Henderson is now back at Man United, and that means now Sergio Romero will be our third choice goalkeeper, and obviously he won't want to stay at the club when he's third choice goalkeeper. Romero's just got under a year left on his Man United contract, but the club do have an option to extend it for a further year. Last season, I think Romero played in all our League Cup games apart from the semi-final, played in all our Europa League games apart from the semi-final, and played in all our FA Cup games apart from the semi-final. So that is the breaking news on him. Now, just want to talk with you a bit more about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So, can Ole Gunnar Solskjaer reach the next level at Manchester United? Now, obviously, this season is a big season for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer because obviously, this season is his second full season at the football club. And he knows this season that he's going to have bigger expectations to exceed. I think our expectations this season will be to obviously challenge for the Premier League title. I think we need at least 2 more signings in this window if we are to mount a title challenge up this season. We haven't mounted any title challenge up in the last 7 years, and don't forget we haven't won the Premier League since 2013. Are we good enough to win the league at some point under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era? I think another one of the expectations this season will be to win a trophy. Because we've not yet won out in terms of silverware under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. In the entirety of our history so far, we've won 45 trophies. Obviously, 38 of them trophies came under Ferguson. We've only won 3 trophies since Ferguson's retirement, and that was the FA Cup under Van Gaal and the Europa League and the League Cup under Jose Mourinho. And we haven't won a major honour for over 3 years, and it's the first time this has happened in over 30 years. Obviously, last season was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first full season at the football club, and to be honest with you, did exceed most of his expectations. obviously got us qualification for the Champions League. And I did say, didn't I, how important Champions League was for our players, attracting players, and for the financial structure. We also finished third, and we also progressed to 3 semi-finals. We got to the FA Cup semi-final, the Europa League semi-final, and the EFL Cup semi-final. But like Solskjaer said, semi-finals are not good enough. Not good enough in that. I'm gonna go through with you the improvements that we need to see this season from Manchester United as well. I still think that there's certain players that have got to improve at the football club. I think this season Harry Maguire's got to improve. This season's going to be Harry Maguire's second season at Manchester United. Obviously, last season was his first full season at the club. We got Harry Maguire in a deal worth £80 million from Leicester last summer. So he's the second most expensive signing in the club and the most expensive centre-half in the world at the moment. Maguire was recently given extra time off for his court case in Greece and his arrest in Greece. We know this season he's going to remain Manchester United captain. If he doesn't do well this season, I would take the captaincy off him. Lindelof's also got to improve this season. Obviously, if we get a centre-half in, then Lindelof will be one of our backup centre-halves. Obviously, he's one of our first-choice centre-halves at this moment in time. And I think Lindelof will stay for at least one more season. Lindelof's endured 3 years at the football club. We got him from Benfica back in 2017 for £30 million. Eric Bailly, I think he'll stay at the club for at least one more season. He has been subjected to some transfer speculation. My only element of concern about Eric Bailly is that he's injury prone, but prior to that, very, very good centre-half. I think Luke Shaw's also got to improve his fitness, because he's too injury prone. Luke Shaw sustained an ankle injury towards the end of last season. He's improved as a player, he's just got to improve his fitness. Luke Shaw's endured 6 years at Manchester United. Got him from Southampton back in 2014 for £30 million. I think he will remain our first choice left back. That's if we don't obviously sign a left back in this summer transfer window. I also think that David De Gea's obviously got to get back to his best. We won't sell David De Gea in this summer transfer window. We may sell him next summer. We'd probably still get around £60 million for De Gea, even if we was to sell him next summer. De Gea has been inconsistent in the last couple of years, reflecting on the calamitous mistakes he has made. I think David De Gea's had 7 good years out of the 9 years he's been at Man United. This season is going to be his 10th season at the football club. De Gea has made around 405 appearances in all competitions and made 300 odd appearances in the Premier League. He has won everything domestically at the football club and he has won individual awards reflecting on his good run of performances. We paid just over £18 million for De Gea from Atletico Madrid back in 2011. I've already said that Solskjaer's got a goalkeeping decision to make. I think he needs to put Dean Henderson as number 1 this season because I think now Dean Henderson is reliable enough to become our number 1 goalkeeper and Dean Henderson has now got that experience behind him. And he's actually threatened to leave the club as Dean Henderson if he isn't assured to be number 1 this season. I think we need to see more attacking intent from Wan-Bissaka because he's lacking that attacking intent. But Wan-Bissaka's defensive contribution's always been very, very good. Obviously, we got Wan-Bissaka in a deal worth £50 million from Crystal Palace last summer. I thought towards the end of last season, though, did look a bit fatigued. But I think Bissaka can be our right back for the next 9 to 10 years and could emulate into, the next Gary Neville. I think there's probably still aspects of Rashford's game that's got to improve, to be honest with you. He's improved under Solskjaer, don't get me wrong. I think he's got to improve his fitness a bit more as well. Because obviously Marcus Rashford has sustained a few injuries. He's recently just had an ankle injury, or has he still got that ankle injury? Obviously had a back injury for us last season. Don't forget Rashford's been part of the club for several years. He's been a United player since the age of 7, and he's been in our senior squad since 2016. And since then has become an integral part of our team. Obviously Rashford does play on that left-hand side now, but he can play centrally. So I think they're the players that do need to improve at Manchester United. They really, really do. There's other improvements needed as well. I think Solskjaer's got to improve his decision making, because in a lot of games last season, Solskjaer was very tactically naive, but there was some games where he actually showed tactical flexibility. I think Solskjaer's approach to a lot of the big games last season were very, very good. We actually took around 19 points against the big 6 sides last season. And I think there's still aspects of our game in general that I've got to improve. I think we've got to be slightly more clinical in front of goal. We need to strengthen up in that defensive area, because that's one of our weaknesses. Like I said, we need to get a right winner in. So these are the improvements that are needed at Manchester United. We look very, very strong now in that midfield. That's one good thing from a Man United perspective, because obviously now we've just got Donny van de Beek in. Obviously, Donny van de Beek is our first signing in this summer transfer window. I presume that Donny van de Beek will be making his debut against Crystal Palace on the opening day. We got Donny van de Beek in a deal worth around £39 million, paid just over £34 million up front for him. Obviously with like 4.4 million with add-ons. Donny van de Beek signed a 5-year contract with Manchester United. Obviously that keeps him at the football club until 2025, and there's also an option of a further year. We know that Donny van de Beek's going to be wearing the number 34 shirt. So there you go. But I think he'll complement Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba fantastically well in our midfield. He can play alongside them two in our midfield. He really, really can. So we look very, very good now in that midfield. Probably got one of the best midfields now in the Premier League. But don't get me wrong, I have seen some improvements since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came in. Obviously, our recruitment has really, really improved under him. I think Solskjaer promoted the youth very, very well last season. I've also got to credit Solskjaer. He's got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he got recommended into Manchester United. We've seen, a lot of players go. We recently loaned Dylan Levitt out to Charlton. He's on 1 season loan with them. He made his debut for the football club against Astana last season. James Garner's going to be going out on loan. I think he's been talking with Huddersfield recently. Blackburn and Millwall are also trying to get James Garner. I said we need to loan some young players out so they can get regular first team football. A few weeks ago, we'd loaned Tahith Chon out to Werder Bremen. Obviously, Joe Pereira. He's been loaned back out, I think. He's another one of the goalkeepers we've got. Obviously, we've let the likes of Sanchez leave the club. Romelu Lukaku. Ander Herrera. Marian Fellaini, he left in January 2019. Angel Gomez. Matteo Darmian left last summer. Obviously, Valencia. He left the club last summer. Ashley Young, he left in January. Don't forget we loaned Smalling and Rojo out, but now they are back at the club. So we have got rid of a lot of players. By the way, I heard that we are struggling to offload our fringe players, because obviously we're looking to sell players in this summer transfer window. We could get rid of up to at least 7 or 8 players in this summer transfer window. Obviously, there's still deadwood at the club. We're looking to obviously get rid of Jesse Lingard. We're looking to get rid of Andres Pereira. We're looking to obviously get rid of Smalling, Rojo, Jones, Diego Dalot. Like I said, Romero's open to leaving the football club, But we are struggling to do this. We've got quite a few players that are, aging up. You've got Matic now, he's in his 30s. I think he'll stay though for at least one more season. Matic will stay for at least one more season. He will. You've obviously got Juan Mata. You know, he's now in his early 30s. I think he'll stay for another season at least. You know, you've got De Gea now. That's in his late 20s. So there's a few players, you know, that are obviously aging up. Don't forget, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was recently frustrated with Ed Woodward. The main explanation is over the lack of transfer business in this summer transfer window. And I think Solskjaer's totally blameless in this. You know, I feel as though that Solskjaer is progressing as Manchester United manager because he publicly come out and admitted that Manchester United have got to spend money in this summer transfer window. You know, if we are to compete with the likes of City, Liverpool and perhaps Chelsea. But I think Solskjaer deserves more backing. I really, really do. And like I've said, we've had a lot of issues with the board for several years. Obviously, there's explanations behind it. Obviously, reflects on how poor our recruitment policy's been. With us obviously overpaying for players. You know, we've made mistakes in the last 7 years, you know, with like the poor selection of managers. Because obviously we've sacked 3 managers since the Ferguson era, and that was Moyes, Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho. Obviously, a lot of the players we've brought in the last 7 years haven't been the right calibre players for Manchester United. But, you know, Woodward has been at the football club since 2012. The Glazers has been at the club since 2005. But they both said, didn't they, that they was determined to back Solskjaer in this summer transfer window. Now, the summer transfer window shuts in just under a month. Man United have got more things to do. Like I've said, we've got to try and sign a centre-half. We've got to try and get a left-back in. Obviously, we've got to sign Sancho. We've got to get rid of players in that. I think we've also got to get Paul Pogba a new long-term contract at the football club to end the uncertainty over his future. You know? But up until the Donny van de Beek news, like I said on one of my videos before, everything was going wrong for Manchester United. You know, we had the incident with Maguire. We had Williams injured. And Wan-Bissaka set to miss the start of pre-season training. The other week, Pogba got tested positive for coronavirus. You know, Rashford sustained that ankle injury. We've just had the thing with Mason Greenwood getting withdrawn from the England squad. So too Phil Foden. But yeah. But like I said, Solskjaer so far at the football club has spent just over £200 million. But like I said, give him another season, see how things plan out. Obviously, if we are to have a good start to this season, then Solskjaer could be back under pressure at the football club. You know, but it is a transition period for Man United, and it has been a transition period for a while. You know, like I said, the vast majority of this team's not Solskjaer's, because obviously Solskjaer's inheriting players even from the Mourinho era. You know, still a few players even from the Van Gaal era, still one player even from the Moyes era, and still a few players even from the Ferguson era. So let's just put that into the equation. But like I said, you know, we haven't dominated English football since the Ferguson era. I think it's going to be hard for any manager at Manchester United to replicate Ferguson's legacy. You know, Ferguson endured 20-odd years at the football club, you know, but didn't settle in straight away because he didn't win out in his first 4 years at Manchester United, did Ferguson. And Solskjaer obviously wants to build the next great Manchester United team, doesn't he? So in a way, he's trying to follow Ferguson's philosophy. But our success came under Ferguson, didn't it? Let's be honest, you know. We've been inconsistent in the last 7 years, like I mentioned. You know, we spent nearly £1 billion in the last 7 years on all the players we've brought in, including what we spent under Solskjaer. You know? So, yeah. Another good news is as well, we are unbeaten in the league since January. You know, we are unbeaten in our last 14 league games. So, yeah. So, do you think we are going in the right direction under Solskjaer? Another good thing as well, we have extended a lot of players' contracts since he came in. I think there's some players we give contracts to who, you know, we shouldn't have given contracts to, but there's some players we give contracts to who deserve new contracts and that. So, yeah. So, anyway, guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.